What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the ACSA Team Reveal Special here on Maximum Football 2020. This is John J. Gaming on the mic, and today we are here in part 6 of the ACSA Team Reveal mini-series, where we go over every single team in the ACSA, this all-created teams Dynasty that we got going here. And for this part 6, we have the Big Southwest Conference, which is the maximum football equivalent of the Big 12. So guys, if you're excited about the teams in this conference, do me a favor, smash that like button, as well as hit subscribe if you happen to be new, and as well as if you haven't seen the previous parts yet, please go check that out. That will be linked down in the description as well as in the end of this video as well. With all that being said, let's jump into the teams that make up the Big Southwest Conference. First team that I'm going to introduce in the Big Southwest Conference, we have the Clinton College Indians, located in Clinton, Oklahoma. You notice that they have the OK abbreviation because there's another Clinton University out in New York. This is the Clinton College that is out in Oklahoma, and they are going to be rocking the orange and blue. These are also what their uniforms are going to be looking like going in. They will be rocking the orange and blue for this, for this series. As I got to make a quick change to that outer stripe. Can't have some random purple in there, but these are the home jerseys for Clinton College, as well as the away jerseys that they will be sporting out there in the football field in the deserts that make up the Big Southwest, landmark territory. Finally, these are the helmets that they're going to be rocking as well. Unlike a different Indian type team, they do have the logo on their helmets, as well as got an orange and white stripe going down the middle with the blue helmet. In order for this team to be successful, though, it looks like they're going to go to the running game quite a bit. Darius Brown is the heart and soul of his team, standing at only 5'7". He's a guy that definitely has a chip on his shoulder. 87 overall, though, definitely someone to not be messed with. Another thing that they do have going, though, is that offensive line. They got guys like Haze, Todd Lee, and Paris Screws. For the most part, is quite an experienced group, so you love to see that. Over on the defensive end, though, they have guys like Tyreen Mays, who is ready to be a great all-around player for this Clinton defense, as well as defensive lineman Preston Howe, coming in as a true freshman, already with collegiate size. Just got to put the talent all together. Let's see if he adjusts to the collegiate level relatively well. Have the David Crockett Mavericks, named after famous adventurer David Crockett. They are located out in the great city of Houston, Texas, and going to be rocking the white and green for the sake of this dynasty. This is what their uniform is going to be looking like. Now, of course, you can't wear white as the home jerseys, because then you'll have a hard time telling who's who out there on the field, but they are rocking that green, and there's definitely plenty of white still on this jersey, with it being their primary colors. And then the same, for the most part, could also be said about the away jerseys as well. Just an all-white thing. No, something simple, something clean. I do love the simplicity of these jerseys, and still yet they look so darn good here in Maximum Football 2020. Checking out this David Crockett roster, though, two guys that definitely stand out is freshman phenom Oliver Coleman, coming in as a true freshman and already looks like he has the potential to be an absolute superstar at the collegiate level. Be interesting to see how he does, but he certainly has potential to really stand out. Not to be outside, Mitchell Glover also looks like an extremely talented football player as well. He's got great speed, as well as that strength, as well as the ability to catch out of the backfield as well. A nice all-around back that can be utilized by this David Crockett offense. Other players to keep your eyes on is Eddie Robinson, with phenomenal speed and great blocking as well, so watch out for him as a red zone threat, standing at 6'8". Linebacker Taylor Grady is the senior leader of this defense. Look for him to really bring this team together and potentially do something special going into this season. Finally, another defensive back that's going to be starting opposite of Oliver Coleman is Will Sargent. He doesn't have the talent that Coleman brings as a true freshman, but he does bring that experience, though, and that will sure come into handy, knowing that the Big Southwest is certainly known for having offenses really show out and go into shootouts. Up next, we go over to one of the flyover states here in the United States and go to Haze, Kansas, where you'll find the Haze College Indians getting ready for their very first season in the Big Southwest Conference. They're going to be rocking the brown and black in this dynasty and will be replacing the Waco Tech Cobras here in Maximum Football 2020. This is also what their jerseys are going to be looking like, starting with the home jerseys, sporting almost all black, all brown across the board, only exception being that text and the numbers on the home jerseys. And then this is what their away jerseys are going to be looking like as well when they go on the road, against other teams here in this ACSA series. Checking out the team though, and I wouldn't be surprised if they aired it out this season. Their best group for sure is their wide receivers. Guys like Josh Grubbs, Dion Pure, and T.Y. Bryant, all doing certain things differently, but they complement each other pretty well as they have a guy that's a speedster, one that can catch well, and one that can do a little bit of both. It'll be great for sophomore quarterback Luke Ben, who did have a promising freshman year, but will need to step up in order to be competitive in this conference. He does have the tools, he does have the mobility as well as the arm to get it done. Just got to bring it all together. Other players to keep your eyes on, at least over on the defensive end, is defensive lineman Camille Fox and Forrestine Proceed. I know Haze College fans are really looking forward to these two playing together on the defensive line, hoping to be a 1-2 punch for the pass rush. Also look to Andrew Bryant to make plays as a defensive leader on this squad, with Riley Jackson and Corey Career trying to make plays out on the outside. Up the tone from the plains of Kansas, going to Abilene, Texas now. We have a Christian school in Nazareth College, home of the Maccabees, and they are going to be rocking the blue and gray during the course of this dynasty. Also going to be replacing the Lubbock Bandits here within Maximum Football 2020 as well. Now, I must say that the Nazareth jerseys do look really clean with that blue and gray. They just seem to complement each other extremely well. Loved how these jerseys turned out for sure, particularly the home ones. The away ones are nice too, but they don't catch my eye just as much as what the home jerseys do to me personally. Very nice uniform set, probably one of my favorite uniform sets within the Big Southwest Conference. As for this football team, they aren't the most talented on paper, but they'll find a way to get the job done some way, somehow. They're going to be led by sophomore wide receiver Darius Foster, who does have extremely nice hands at that 92 hands rating, which is really nice to see. Two of their best players, though, is Rashad Perry and Robbie Edwards, kicker and punter respectively. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Hopefully that means the special teams is going to be really good for Nazareth, because I think they're going to need it, in order to be competitive this season. Other guys to keep your eye on include Cameron Lawler and linebacker Evan Davis, who are going to be anchoring the defense's upcoming season. And then we got true freshman quarterback Ian Marion, who is going to be a wild card this season. Don't know what to expect out of him. We'll see how he performs over the course of this season, knowing that there's so little tape on this guy. Up next, we have the New Mexico Tech Conquistadors, hailing from Santa Fe, New Mexico. They're going to be rocking that gold, red, and orange over the course of this dynasty, and actually are going to replace the Kansas Roadrunners. They may not be a very talented team, but man, they have a really cool name, and I can't wait to say that name during the course of this series a handful of times. Now, as for their uniforms, the uniforms do look pretty darn good with the red and orange on top. The font is definitely different as well. You love to see that with some of these colleges and universities using unique fonts, just to spice things up a little bit here on the ACSA Dynasty. But this is what their home and away jerseys are going to be looking like, as well as what to expect from the helmet. The helmet looking really nice, doing a nice job complementing those home jerseys for sure. As for this football team though, I would not be shocked if they struggled this season. Their best player is Delano Hammonds, but he's only a 77 overall and is not very quick. So he's going to for sure have some issues trying to get open above their other wide receivers such as Ryan Gilmore and Alex White to try to complement him. Over on the defensive end, Benson Degmark and Demetrius McDuffel are there anchoring the defensive line, trying to be a veteran presence on this roster. But overall, this is definitely going to be a difficult year for New Mexico Tech. They'll need to focus on recruiting to build this team up from the ground. And I would not be shocked if they finish towards the bottom of the Big Southwest. At least that's one of my predictions. That would not be shocked if I somehow get jinxed and they do a lot better than I expected. State University vibe, we go over to the great state of Arizona, where we find the Phoenix State Flames representing, the Big Southwest Conference as well. Only thing got changed, I forgot to change them to, I don't know why their province was like that. They are definitely not in Pennsylvania. They are for sure in Arizona, so that's my bad, y'all. Checking out the uniforms though for Phoenix State, this is what they're going to be working with. You got the light red, got the yellow, definitely representing the desert and how hot it can certainly get out there in the great state of Arizona. Here's also the away jerseys for Phoenix State, as well as the Flames look to really build off of a promising season that they had in previous years. As here's the helmet for Phoenix State before we go ahead and jump into what this roster has and what we can expect from them. So they got some talented players on this team. 4 of them to really note is Andrew Goodwin, who has some pretty good wide receiver skills to him for sure. Now they also have Devondre Paranish, I believe is how I pronounce his name. It's really interesting to see these two right here go at it in spring ball, really making each other better and pushing each other to their highest potential. And that looks like it's going to really pay off this upcoming season, playing against some of these better squads. A couple other guys to watch is John Jackson and Wayne Abedi, who are both of which could make quite a duo, as John Jackson at 6'4", 235. No surprise there, is there to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to catch lobs in the end zone. Meanwhile, Wayne Abedi got that arm and has half decent mobility as well. Not the fastest guy, not as slow as Tom Brady of course, but he can do some things as well. A couple other people is Jonathan Allen and Jordan Morton, hoping that Phoenix State fans get together and really push that interior line. Neither of them are very quick, which is concerning, so hopefully they don't take advantage of that, at least the teams playing against them. Turn to southern New Mexico, where we find the Cougars, representing that white, brown, and black, as they've replaced the Oklahoma City Patriots here in Maximum Football 2020. This is what their home jerseys are going to be looking like this upcoming season, as they got that Cougar logo on the helmet, and then other than that, not a lot of color to see here. Just really trying to blend in with the skin color of the Cougar, I suppose. Don't know what else to tell you here, but this is what the helmet is looking like up close and personal. Definitely not a lot to see here. Southern New Mexico, they don't have the flashiest jerseys. They just are there to play football. Simple as that. And why I say they're only there to play football? Because this team is pretty darn good. They got multiple 90 overall plus guys on this roster. One of which is Brandon Harshman. Only a 5'8" guy, but he is so freaking strong. He's going to cause some problems. Another person that could cause problems is Isaiah Leal, who has so elite athleticism and can block and can catch the ball and has good size. The only thing that's really holding him back is that he only has 44 strength, which is a little low for a tight end, but man, he is going to be a heck of a receiving threat. They also have elite offensive linemen like Eddie Fatigue, Joe Homer, and Micah Bailey, looking to push things on the offensive front. Other players to keep an eye on as well is the receiving core. Jeremy Neuer, Ken Wilson, and Jesse Williams also have speed to burn. So watch out for that, as there's plenty of weapons to go to here, as AJ Edwards comes in as a true freshman phenom who will have to adjust quickly, but does have the tools to make it happen as a potential national championship threat here in the state of New Mexico. Up next, we have one of my personal favorites actually. We have the Sugarland State Cowboys in the great city of Sugarland, Texas. They got the blue, white, and gold in this dynasty, and I have to say that custom logo is probably one of my personal favorites in this entire dynasty, not only within the conference but in the entire country as well. Diving into that color scheme, this is what Sugarland State is going to be rocking with in terms of uniforms. These are the home jerseys for Sugarland State going into season 1, as well as what they have on the road. Got that blue and black once again. Jerseys looking very clean. You love to see that, as well as the helmet for Sugarland State as well. Can't wait to see these guys take the field over in season 1. But they are not just about their uniforms here at Sugarland State. These guys can play too. Vinny Hawkins has decent mobility, but that's not what it's about. He has elite intelligence, can read a defense extremely well, not to mention having a cannon of an arm back there. Having him as a true freshman, I know Sugarland State fans are going to be extremely excited about that. A few other players to keep your eyes on is Nick Ellis, who is the soul of this defense. Coming with experience, he's got the leadership, and on top of that, he has the talent as well. Running back Cameron Keenan is going to take some pressure off the freshman quarterback. Not as talented as Vinny Hawkins, but on the other hand, he does have really good strength, as well as decent hands in the backfield as well. Also look out for Kareem Ianati, who has elite athleticism in the defensive backfield, and also has a very good ability to be able to read what the quarterback is trying to do and take advantage of it. Look for him to have multiple interceptions, or at least, get close to that, even though his hands may not be very good. Keeping things in the state of Texas, we have the Texas Catholic Gladiators, hailing from Allen, Texas. They are going to be rocking the green and gold in this dynasty, and are going to replace the Austin Steers here in Maximum Football 2020. For Texas Catholic, home of the Gladiators, this is what their home jerseys are going to look like. That green and yellow, you don't usually see that associated with the Gladiators, but we don't do things normal here on the ACSA. We like to keep things fresh. We like to keep things unique over here as we bring you these teams that are going to be a part of the ACSA series here on Maximum Football 2020. This is also what their helmet is going to look like up close. Got the completely yellow helmet and the green logo that they're going to be represented with on the field going into season 1. As for this roster, they're not necessarily going to have any star players, but they have a lot of really good guys on this team. Few of those guys include Akeem Freeman, who's going to be, has very good strength. Look for him to plug up the interior of that line. Then we have this trio at the quarterback and wide receiver positions. Taysom Boston looking to throw some deep balls downfield, whereas Antoine Ellis and Brian Rumler each have elite athleticism to take advantage of the arm that Taylon Boston has for an arm. A couple other guys to keep your eye on as well is Vance Brown and Javon Simmons. Two guys that are leaders on this defense for sure. Look for them to really bring the leadership that this defense really needs. As once again, there aren't any individuals on here that are super talented compared to some of the teams in this conference, but they do play really well together, and that should play well to their advantage going into season 1 of this series. Final team in the Big Southwest Conference, we have the Wentzville Vikings in Wentzville, Missouri. feels good to have a Missouri team back in the maximum football equivalent of the Big 12, because that is Big 12 territory. Nothing can tell me that, Missouri in real life belongs to the SEC, but that is a can of worms that I can always open at a different time. These Vikings will be replacing the West Virginia Ravens here in Maximum Football 2020, as here's the uniforms that they are going to be rocking, as they got, the unique font once again for the numbers, so at least that number pops out quite a bit. Nothing too flashy. We're not about flash here at Wentzville. In the middle of that, state, they just care about football and farming. One more thing before I jump into the roster. This is what the helmets are going to be looking like up close. This is the logo that's going to represent them within the game, as well as what the rest of the helmet's going to be looking like. Nothing too flashy, but again, they're not about flash. They're all about football here and there in the state of Missouri. Now, they do have one stud wide receiver on this squad. They got the Sean McBride with elite athleticism and also elite catching. Look for him to really put up some numbers this upcoming season, considering they do like to air it out there in Missouri with this Wentzville football team. Not to be outshined as well, Taylor Sims as well as Ryan Milner are going to be great compliments to the wide receiver one that is Deshaun McBride. It's going to take some double teams off him for sure, and look for these guys to also produce. In addition, they finally have their quarterback in Blake Graham, a 6'4", 207-pound freshman from St. Louis, Missouri. Look for him to really put in that hard work and determination, as they, does have a great arm, but does need to work on reading defenses a little bit, but I'm sure he'll catch on. Over on the defensive end, although they're not known for it, they do have a couple of really good guys there too. Frank Collins and Shadion Wilson are both guys that can really step up and play extremely well, get the stops that they need as well. And then on the defensive line, they have pass rushers like Brandon Motley and Jacoby Lewis, looking to bottle up the quarterback in the pocket to prevent scrambles, because sure, there's going to be some quarterbacks that are going to want to scramble in this conference. That is going to conclude today's ACS review here in Maximum Football 2020, going over all the teams in the Big Southwest Conference. Next time out, we will jump up to the Big North Conference, where we'll find the Maximum Football equivalent of the Big Ten Conference here on Maximum Football 2020. It should be a good one for next time out, so if you enjoy the content here on this channel, I encourage you to smash that like button, as well as hit subscribe if you happen to be new, because I would truly appreciate that. Also, if you haven't seen the previous parts yet, I also encourage you to check those out as well. The link for that playlist will be in the description, as well as in the end card that will be showing up at the very end of this video. So with all that being said, hope you guys are all having a good one. Take care, everybody.